You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is the nonstop use of weird pronouns and all kinds of other political correctness to describe everybody and everything. We can't call things what they really are. So on yesterday's show, I told you about actress Ellen Page, who frankly is a has-been. Yes, she had a lot of big roles, but now she only has tiny roles. And so she pulled a big publicity stunt by declaring that she is trans and saying that she is now a he, and that his, her, whatever's name is Elliot Page. And she said that her pronouns were they and him, or something like that. So now we're being told this by all the media. This was the top news story on every single morning news show, whether it was Good Morning America or the Today Show or what have you. This was also on all the news, national news shows last night, as if this is a big deal, that a second-rate actress that most of you probably never heard of has declared that she is now a he. Now this is courageous. This is the thing. And now we're being taught new terms we never thought we would want to know. And maybe we still don't want to know them. I know I don't. So there's this new term called dead naming. What is dead naming? Now this is as politically correct a term as it gets. Dead naming is this term used by the trans community about their dead names. So the names that they used when they were born, when they were their original gender, that they still are. They can lie about it. As I said on yesterday's show, they still have the DNA they were born with. Ellen Page is still, by DNA and chromosomes, a woman, no matter what she thinks otherwise. And she can cut off certain body parts. She can reconfigure other body parts. She still is a woman biologically because of DNA, because of chromosomes. Those are immutable. They cannot change. But we're told we can't call her Ellen. Not now, not ever. In fact, this dead naming business is about the trans community demanding that any actor, any actress, if they change their sex, they declare tomorrow I'm a different sex, I'm a different gender, all of their projects should change the name. So, in other words, they should go back to all the movie posters of anything that Ellen has ever been in, anything that Ellen/Elliot has ever been in. She was in the movie Inception, for example. They want the movie posters. They want the movie credits on all the databases. They want everything to be changed to Elliot, her new chosen male name, because they say her other name is a dead name, and that it's wrong to keep calling her Ellen, even if it's from projects from the past when she went by that name. They call that dead naming, and they say it's not allowed. So now all of these studios, and believe me, there's no love lost between me and these far liberal left Hollywood studios and their bad messages to American culture, but still, they are businesses. All these businesses are being demanded of that they should change everything, and it's not just showbiz. Everybody they are demanding should change the name. They call it their original government name, but it's not their real name, they say. This is just ridiculous. She is not a man. By the way, this is the same crowd that attacks us, those of us on the right, as not believing in science. They say we don't believe in science because we're against wearing masks, because we believe in freedom, because we're against lockdowns for months on end. We're now into, our 9th or 10th month of being locked down in some states. Part of America, a good part of it, is still shut down. Restaurants in North Dakota are being told they have to limit their capacities. People have to wear masks. Restaurants have to invest in igloos outdoors. This is ridiculous. That now we're being told that we don't believe in science, but yet their science is that they can recognize what is biologically a woman as a man. That is pretend. That is anti-science. They are the ones who are against science. We are not. And this whole dead naming business is absurd. By the way, if you own an iPhone, and this is probably true of Android phones as well, but if you ask Siri on an iPhone something about Bruce Jenner, Siri will correct you and say Caitlyn Jenner, blah, blah, blah. You cannot use the name Bruce Jenner. It is not accepted by Siri. That is what I'm talking about. And it may be easy for Apple to do this kind of thing. It is not easy for businesses. And this is not just going to happen if this is a trend with showbiz. This is going to happen everywhere. You're going to have to change the names of everything. It's costly. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. And it's not science. This political correctness has got to stop. But it won't, because it keeps on going. I want to show you this video, and I'll introduce this. This is a Dallas restaurant owner. He is a black restaurant owner. He owns a business that is it's his business. He said he established it to be friendly to blacks like him. It's called True Kitchen. And he had a lot of people at his restaurant. He told some of them, your food's going to be ready soon. You have to wait a little bit. They were twerking in his restaurant. He told them, please sit down. I invested a lot of money in this restaurant. Just please sit down. And they didn't listen, and they kept twerking. So here's the video of what happened.
I invested a lot of money into buying this building, into developing this concept, so black people can have somewhere nice to go to, okay? Somewhere where we can feel good about ourselves as a... Come on! Stop the music, please! Somewhere where our people can feel good about ourselves as a culture, okay? No, real talk. And so all this twerking, taking the crime, taking the pink, don't bring it here because we're a restaurant. And so beyond that, 75% of my customers are ladies. And I want men to show respect for themselves for how they carry themselves here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass here? If you want to do it, get my restaurant. Because I did it for our people and I did it for our culture. So don't do it now. Don't do it again. I don't want to hear it. If you don't like it, get out because I don't need your money. I need to provide something for my people. And don't do it again. Thank you.
I love that guy. His name, by the way, is Kevin Kelly. Love that guy. But you know what? He's coming under a lot of fire from liberal whites who don't like that he said this, and from blacks who don't like that he did this. I cannot believe some of the stuff that I have seen against him on social media, in regular media. It is absurd. He's being called racist. He's black. Apparently not black enough because he doesn't want his customers to twerk in the middle of his restaurant. Another set of people have said to him, don't play twerking music. Put it in the policy and don't be a misogynist. If you don't want people behaving like that, suddenly you're a misogynist? And he was playing twerking music? What is twerking music? So anything with rhythm or a beat or anything that's hip-hop is twerking music? Are you serious? This is absurd, but this is the kind of stuff that's going on. This is another form of the political correctness. You have to conform to their anything goes standard, that a woman is a man despite DNA and chromosomes, that a black restaurant owner who wants some dignity in his restaurant is a racist and it's his fault because he's playing twerking music and he's not allowed to tell people to get out or behave. Apparently you can't do that anymore in your own business. This is ridiculous. All right, when we come back, we'll talk some more political correctness, including what's going on in a city in our neighbors to the south in South Dakota, and why I have a problem with the increase in chess. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Howdy folks, it's a Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Beck Communications is honored to be recently recognized with 3 Broadband Now awards. Beck Communications Cooperative was awarded in the categories of Top Internet Speeds Nationwide, Top 3 Fastest Internet Providers in North Dakota, and North Dakota's #1 Fastest Fiber Provider. It's only through the support of our members and customers that Beck Fiber delivers award-winning speeds and service. Thank you, Beck Communications Cooperative members and customers, for your years of continued support.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, we were talking about some instances of political correctness, and there are more. And this is the problem. So let's say Donald Trump had been reelected. Let's say, and as did happen, the Republicans not only didn't lose seats in the House, but they gained. This was, frankly, other than the White House, a win for the Republicans this past election. But it doesn't matter how much we win or lose at the top of the ticket all the way down. We're losing somewhere else, and that is the culture war. We are losing not only a few battles, but many, many battles, and in fact, the war. Now, those 2 examples I just gave you are just the beginning. There are so many. And in our neighbors to the south, in South Dakota, there is a city, Gettysburg, South Dakota. Check out that police patch you can see over my shoulder. That is the patch for the Gettysburg Police Department. Now, as you can see, it does have a Confederate flag on it, but it's not a Confederate flag honoring the Confederacy. What happened at Gettysburg? We, the Union, won. Yes, we lost many, many, many lives there. Tens of thousands died there. But guess what? We won. We won over the Confederacy. So that is a symbol of a Confederate defeat and a loss. And as we know, and as history told us, the Confederacy died. They lost the whole Civil War. We won. There is nothing wrong with that patch. That patch is showing what happened at Gettysburg and throughout the Civil War. Now, why is the town named Gettysburg? Well, it was founded by some veterans of Gettysburg, some Union veterans, by the way. Apparently, there was one Confederate veteran that lived there, but there were several Union vets, and they are the ones that founded the town, and that's why it's called Gettysburg. Nothing wrong with that, but apparently there is. Apparently all vestiges of any reference to anything in American history that anybody has a problem with have to be removed. Rather than learn from it, it has to be removed. And also, guess who lives in Gettysburg? You'll never guess. George Floyd's uncle. His name is Selwyn Jones. And while there have been calls for Gettysburg to get rid of that flag from the patch, now those calls are overhyped because George Floyd's uncle lives there, and now he has asked for it to be removed. He told the Rapid City Journal that he would like the patches changed. And again, as we know, Gettysburg was the turning point in the Civil War. It was our win there that really led to us being victorious in the whole Civil War. But you can't have that. So everyone is piping in again, all the usual social justice warrior suspects, and you have to get rid of it. But you know what? The police chief said no. He said, hell no, I'm not removing it. And the artist who designed it said that this was a tribute to the veterans of the Civil War that fought there for the Union and died, some of them. Not the ones in the city, but not the ones that founded the city. Obviously, they lived, but there were many, many that died. And he said it's a way of showing these people to put the past behind them, but to celebrate our victories and our history. That's what it is. But you can't have it. Again, you just can't. Now, there are other examples of political correctness in ways that you probably would never recognize as such. And that is the influence of the pop culture media, including and especially Netflix. So since so many people are home, whether they're sadly have lost their jobs or their businesses, or they're working from home, as we all know, movie streaming has gone way up. Netflix subscriptions have hit sky high. Its stock has gone sky high, although it went down a little bit when it came out that the vaccines were effective and that we will probably soon have vaccines. But Netflix has really become so influential. And this is akin to the way the rest of the pop culture media is influential, and it's not in a good way. Now, you would ask me, well, what has Netflix done? Well, we talked about, there was a movie, we talked about that on this show, called Cuties, where they glorified what is frankly a child molester's dream. These girls are sexualized, these young girls. And Netflix has done some other things. Now, you would think some of these things are positive. Like there's this show called The Queen's Gambit. So The Queen's Gambit is a very, very popular show. I've had a lot of people that I trust who have good judgment in terms of programming tell me this is just such a great show. You have to see it. You have to see it. And it's about people involved in chess. Young people. A child prodigy, in fact, named Beth Harmon. So it's about young girls being empowered by chess. So because of that show, and this goes to show the influence, chess, a game that has kind of been on the outs, and it's really a great game to teach logic, because they say that people who don't think ahead are good at checkers, but people who think 5, 10 steps ahead, they're the brilliant ones, and they're good at chess. And my late father used to play chess. He taught me the game. All the great chess players, the great chess champs of the world, they're geniuses. They're brilliant. And a lot of parents now seeing this show say, I want my kids to be geniuses, as if that's something that's taught and not up here. So and they do want to teach your kids logic, and that can be taught to some extent. And so critical thinking skills, though, you can develop them, but if you don't have them, you're really not going to be able to sharpen them that much, because you don't really have them. They're weak. But if you have them and they're acute, they're going to become better if you play chess. That's my belief anyway. And a lot of parents who are seeing this show want their kids interested in chess. So because of that, after the show premiered in October, chess set sales have spiked 87% just in the United States. And book sales about chess have risen 603%. That's huge. And a number of retailers, for example, Jeff Myers, who operates the Chess Store, which is an online chess retailer, he said he's never experienced demand quite like he's seeing now in 2020 after this show debuted. Now, what's my problem with that? Don't I want kids in America to play chess? It's so much better than video games. It's so much better than kids being sexualized or kids being involved in things that are no good. That's great. I agree with you if that's your argument. But my argument is this. Kids and parents should get involved in these kinds of things, and parents should involve their kids in these kinds of things on their own because it's good for them, not because they are blindly influenced by Netflix. This is my problem. It's just not just Netflix. Popular culture is way too influential on American parents. It has way too much power on the American people, not just parents. People see stuff like Trump is a bad guy, Republicans are evil, business owners are evil, corporations are evil, individualists who don't want to wear masks, don't believe in science, and they're evil, and so on. People are influenced by these messages. It's not a good thing. And you cannot have a country run by pop culture, or it will be a country that is dumbed down and mediocre. All right, when we come back, we will have a couple more examples of some really bad political correctness, and we'll talk some national politics and some North Dakota politics. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
I just went in for a regular mammogram and I found out that I had a little tumor.
Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the two hospitals at the time, St. Alexius and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top-notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out, get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years.
15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So the political correctness scourge over America is something, again, that we are losing the battle against. And it doesn't matter who is in the political institutions in America. What matters is who is running the other institutions, the media, entertainment. I guess that would include all of pop culture, frankly, not just the movies, not just what's on TV, not just what's streaming, but the internet and many other things that influence general culture that are not high culture, but low culture. Because frankly, pop culture today is low culture. It's not symphonic music, it's hip hop, it's rap, it's other things like that. If you think I'm racist for saying that, tell it to Eminem and Kid Rock, who are in that genre. It's not about race. It's about what's good for America and what has had a bad influence on America. Now, there is still the political correctness of politics. And we see that in California because now that Kamala Harris, let's be honest, no matter what President Trump is going to try to do, he's not going to win. He hasn't won. Unfortunately, believe me, I wish he did. Kamala Harris is going to be the next vice president. And so her Senate seat will be open. And Governor Gavin Newsom, the guy that tells you not to eat out and to wear masks, who eats out and doesn't wear masks, who doesn't social distance like he tells everybody else, he gets to appoint her successor. Now, he's under tremendous pressure from two politically correct groups. One is the Black Lives Matter group. They want him to appoint a black woman because a black woman won the seat. So apparently, once a black woman gets a seat, it's immutable. And only a black woman can replace her, which is absurd. We have elections, and that's why we have elections. We also have governors, like Governor Newsom, who get to use their own judgment to appoint people, and they weren't just elected by black people. In fact, blacks are a smaller minority in California. You know who's the bigger minority? Hispanics, and they make up 40% of the state of California, and they want him to appoint somebody Hispanic because it's California, and Dianne Feinstein has had that seat for a long time. She's a white European, and they want that seat now to be Hispanic. So there are a number of candidates he's looking at, and they're all Hispanic and or black women. So white males, non-Hispanics, non-blacks, look away because you ain't wanted, according to the forces that be, and according to Governor Newsom, who is a white male, by the way. So two of the candidates he's looking at, and that Black Lives Matter is pushing on him, are two of the people, or at least one of them, was considered for Joe Biden's VP slot. And her name is Karen Bass. You probably saw her doing all the Sunday shows. She did not get the nod, and I'll tell you why. Because she is a radical. She was one of these 60s and 70s protesting radicals. Kamala Harris is a radical too, but she didn't go to Cuba and hang out with Castro. She didn't praise Castro. And that is what both Karen Bass and the other black woman that's being looked at, Barbara Lee, who, if you want to see some nutty nut job comments in Congress during committee hearings, look up Barbara Lee. You could find a lot. She is comedy gold. So Karen Bass and Barbara Lee both praise Castro. This man that put people behind bars for decades for protesting, for talking, for saying things he doesn't agree with, tortured people. If you want to look up what happens to people in Cuba when they speak out, look up Armando Valladares. This is one of the most inspiring people I've ever heard speak, I've ever met in my life. He was a writer, he was a human rights protester, and he was tortured, put in prison in Cuba for decades. He wrote a wonderful book about all this. I believe it's called Against All Hope. And this man is just amazing. He survived all of that. He's now a U.S. citizen. But he's evidence of what these two women think is great, and it's very, very sad. So there's that. Now, in terms of another open spot that people are considering candidates for, we talked about this, the Jeopardy host. All right, so Ken Jennings is in the lead to get this job, and somebody doesn't want him to get that job. number one on that list is George Stephanopoulos, because he wants that job. So somebody, and I think it's George Stephanopoulos, is digging up dirt on Ken Jennings, and apparently he sent out some very politically incorrect tweets years ago. He did apologize for them. I do think they're unseemly. He said something about it's a shame to see a hot woman in a wheelchair, which that's outrageous. I would never say something like that. I would never think something like that. It's kind of something sick, I think, for somebody to think about, to voice, much less think about. But he did. He apologized. He's no Alex Trebek, who was class all the way. But I still think he would be the best host for the show. And people make mistakes. They apologize. They misspeak. I've misspoken. I've said things I regret. I'm sure we all have. And I'm sure you have. But they don't want him to get the job because of that. All these things about his tweets are coming out now. That's not the only tweet, but that's the worst one. And speaking of tweets, guess what? We all know how Twitter basically electioneered. They did not want the Hunter Biden information to get out. They censored the New York Post. They shut down the New York Post account on Twitter for more than 2 weeks. Facebook did the same thing. They censor stuff. They don't want you to say things that they think are too reasonable, too obvious, too factual, and not far left enough for them. They don't censor left-wingers. They just don't. It's only people like me. Yeah, I lost a Twitter account that I had built with tens of thousands of people. I lost that. So now they've appointed somebody at Twitter. Listen to this. Talk about a pretentious title. They have a senior product manager for conversational safety. Do we need conversational safety? Do we need to be protected by Twitter? Has anybody ever tweeted anything at you that you would be harmed for life? The trauma is so bad. Are we such snowflakes? Apparently we are, because they've appointed this woman, Christine Sue. Listen to what her past job was. She spent 6 years running a startup to help ranchers plan climate-friendly grazing practices. Oh my God. I just want to vomit just reading that. And she is into mission-driven tech. But Twitter should not be about a mission. It should be a publisher, which is why it has exemptions, like Section 230 under the Millennium Digital Act. That is why Twitter has that exception, and so does Facebook. They're not supposed to have missions. They're not supposed to editorialize. They're supposed to be neutral publishers. They're supposed to let anybody say what they want, but they don't. We know that. Otherwise, why would they have a senior product manager for conversational safety? And if you read this article about her, just look her up, Christine Sue, and look up her role at Twitter. The things that she is saying, it's kind of scary, because there's going to be a lot more censorship, a lot more. They have to lose their immunities from lawsuits. They have to lose that Section 230 immunity. All right, when we come back, we will talk about Cornell's English department and a very important person that I admire a lot and had the privilege to meet passed away. We'll talk about that and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have an 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband Internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Howdy folks, it's a Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the game. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So just some more political correctness, that's our theme today, that I just think is ridiculous, and I think you will too. So in Toronto, there was a clothing store called Permissions, and Permissions has now gotten rid of a broth bar that they had inside their store. Now, why did they get rid of the broth bar? Because apparently it served bone broth, which is very trendy right now. It served noodles, and a Toronto Star editor who is Asian by the name of Evie Kwong complained. Why did she complain? Because she said it was cultural appropriation for a broth bar to be owned by white people. Because, you know, white people, we can't make broth and sell it for a profit, because that is strictly the property of Asians. And she said there was an Asian broth bar across the street. She didn't think it was right. So she, as an editor, this is supposed to be a journalist helping to report the news, not be an activist. Unfortunately, all these journalists are activists now. She put them out of business. The clothing store Permissions got rid of the broth bar owned by a company called Ripe Nutrition. Goodbye. This is absurd. Competition is good for everyone. Nobody owns a certain kind of food. I mean, am I, as a Jewish American, supposed to get upset anytime someone opens up a deli and serves things on challah bread or has chicken soup with matzo balls in it? No. Nobody owns these things. It's a free market, or it should be, but not in Toronto, Canada, apparently, if you're targeted by a Toronto Star editor. Then there is Cornell University, you know, the Ivy Leagues. That is an Ivy League school. It's very prestigious, although probably the least prestigious of all the Ivy League schools, because it's sort of a state school. They get funding from the state of New York and so on. Well, they have decided to get rid of their English department. Well, not get rid of it, but change the name, because the term English department is racist. Yes, racist. So they've changed the name to Department of Literatures in English. Really? Do you think anyone's going to say, oh yeah, I'm majoring in literatures in English? Or, yeah, I'm a professor at the Department of Literatures in English. But apparently they are, because 75% of the faculty of this department supported this, so they're changing it. And they're doing this to get rid of structural forms of racism, because apparently it's racist and intimidating to have a department called the English department. And it conflates the English language and the English nationality, they say. Are you serious? I don't think anyone says, oh, the English department, that's the country of England and its nationals. This is just absurd. All right, now into what's going on nationally here. And this is in politics, but it's also political correctness. Today, the government announced no more support animals on planes except for dogs. Finally, we've heard about support cobras. Okay, not cobras, I made that up. But there have been support snakes. There have been support ducks, turkeys, chickens. You've got to sit on a plane next to somebody who thinks they're a zoo or a farm. This is absurd. So finally, the Department of Transportation, which would never do this, by the way, under President Obama, but under President Trump, they finally did this. Hopefully it won't change back under Joe Biden. And they said that they have to settle the years of tension between airlines and passengers who bring their pets on board for free by saying they're support animals and they need them for emotional support. That was part of it. It was a scam. That was part of it. People did not want to pay for their cats or dogs to fly. But then there were these nuts with the ducks, the turkeys, the snakes. So they said that only dogs can be service animals and companions used for emotional support, such as snakes, chickens, turkeys. The other ones, they just don't count. Finally, that is not political correctness. That's politically incorrect, but it's just. And it should be that way. Now, I want to tell you about a very important person who passed away, and that is Walter Williams. If you are a fan of Rush Limbaugh, you probably heard him host the show as a guest host over the years. I had the opportunity to meet this man years before he was a guest host. When I was in high school and college, I heard him speak. This guy was brilliant. He was a friend of another brilliant conservative, Thomas Sowell. And to me, they're known as black conservatives. To me, I don't think of them that way. Those are two of the most brilliant men in the conservative movement. I don't care what their skin color is. I remember when I heard Walter Williams speak, it was not long after, this was in the 80s, the late 80s, mid to late 80s. So it was not long after our Americans had been held hostage for 444 days from 1979 to 1981 in Iran, when the Ayatollah and his supporters in the Iranian Revolution took over our embassy. And he said we should have bombed Iran at that time. And we should have, because they saw we were not going to respond. And that's why we kept getting attacked by the Shiites, whether it was the bombing of our embassy in Beirut, our Marine barracks in Beirut, the trampling of Navy diver Robert Dean Steedham on TWA Flight 847 in 1985, and so on. They saw we did not respond. So Walter Williams came under attack for saying that, but he was absolutely right. This man was brilliant, and one of his last columns that he wrote recently was entitled, "Is Racism Responsible for Today's Black Problems?" And he wrote about George Floyd and about why he felt that certain things in culture, certain organizations like the NAACP were really at fault for the problems in Black America. Certain government institutions and handouts and other things, certain forces culturally were the responsible forces in the current situation and predicament of Black America, not racism. And it's just a great column. I recommend you read it. Is Racism Responsible for Today's Black Problems by Walter Williams. Walter Williams, he will definitely be missed. Rest in peace. All right, now, we don't have a lot of time before the break, but I just want to play you this video, and we'll talk about it when we get back. This is Representative Porter in Congress versus Steve Mnuchin.
Is today the year 2026? Yes or no?
Of course it's not 2026. How ridiculous to ask me that question and waste our time.
Well, Secretary Mnuchin, I think it's ridiculous that you're play acting to be a lawyer when you have no legal degree.
Actually, I have plenty of lawyers at the Department of Treasury who advise me. So I'm more than happy to follow up with Chair Waters and explain all the legal provisions and the ranking member. So more than happy to make that access.
Secretary Mnuchin, are you in fact a lawyer?
I do not have a legal degree. I have lawyers that report to me.
Thank you.
So you heard that. How ridiculous is that? This woman is she's a former law professor, and she's a Harvard Law School graduate. So because of that, she's got a giant chip on her shoulder, thinks she's smarter than everyone. I'll tell you what this conversation was about. Steve Mnuchin was talking with her about moving certain funds that she wanted to go to the Fed. These are certain CARES Act monies that weren't spent. And we know in North Dakota, we were given over $1 billion in CARES Act money. And guess what? It's not all spent. It has to be spent within the next month before New Year's Eve, or we are going to lose it. There's a lot of extra money. There was a lot of fat. He wants to move some of that money, not have it go to the Fed. She is using this elitist tone. She's just obnoxious. He does not need to be a lawyer to talk about this. Doesn't need to be. They have tons of lawyers advising him, as he said, in his department. But this is the kind of elitism. This is why nothing gets done in the Democrat-controlled House. All right. When we come back, we'll talk some North Dakota stories, some of the things I just can't believe are going on. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink from trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My name is Rich Shook, and I lost my best friend in a grain bin accident.
Some of the emotional scars that when these incidences happen just resonates throughout the community like dropping a rock in a pond. I guess I'll never forget. At least the last moments we shared. That's why I think this is so important to get out there to people, is people think that it can't happen to you, and it can. The time it would take you to just kiss a loved one and your life is over. I believe it's unacceptable.
This message provided by North Dakota Farmers Union.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Now, we know that it's the holiday shopping season right now, and a lot of people, because they're stuck at home or they're working from home, they get packages delivered. But sometimes we're not at home, and the packages get delivered to our porch, and then guess what happens? Porch pirates steal them. It's a big problem. I've had my packages stolen. Maybe you have. I hope not. Check out these two people. They're porch pirates. Look at that guy. If he would have only saved that money from bleaching his hair and then dyeing it blue. Yeah, that's a process you got to go through to get that color hair. If he would have only tried to not be such an iconoclast like everybody else with the blue hair, the pink hair, the green hair, and made something of his life instead of stealing from people. But these two, 31-year-old, the woman on the left, her name is Danae. I believe it's pronounced Tormasky or Tormashi, and he is 35-year-old Matthew Lenoir. So they are charged with conspiracy to commit theft of property and contributing to the deprivation of a minor. Now, why deprivation of a minor? Well, they were using kids to help them steal the packages. They had their children, yes, those two did reproduce. They had their children help them steal packages from people's porches over the past few weeks. Now, how did the police find out about this and catch them? I don't know, but we'll try and find out because I think it's an interesting story. So stay tuned to future shows. Maybe we can get somebody from law enforcement from Bismarck, because that's where this took place, to talk about these two. But the blue hair, I think, says it all. It reminds me of this guy we talked about, I think, a couple months ago on this show, or at least several weeks ago, who was wearing a gorilla suit, who was a little nuts, and who got arrested. I think he was threatening murder or something. But these people, I just don't know. They know their mugshot's going to be taken. They know they're going to be caught. I don't get it. All right, so there's that. Now, there has been discovered an allegedly racist Snapchat group from North Dakota State University students. Now, people are upset, and I understand, I would be upset too, and they want these children, these students, I don't know that they're children, they want their names made public, they want them punished, they want a public apology. You know, North Dakota State University is a public university. It gets tax money. There is such a thing as a First Amendment. And I believe, and I don't agree with the racism. I think racism is horrible. It's a scourge. But this was a private Snapchat group that they had, and they do have their First Amendment rights. And if they get kicked out of school or otherwise disciplined, the school is not saying how they got treated or what happened, then that is another form of political correctness. Because are they going to kick out people who are black who say racist things? Are they going to stop race-based employment practices? Are they going to stop discriminating against white males through affirmative action, which we know that North Dakota State University does do? No, they're not. This is a double standard. I'm against racism. I totally condemn anything these people said in their Snapchat group, although they claim they're not racist. Whatever. They have a right to their free speech. Listen, I'm Jewish. I don't like when people hate Jews, but I believe that anti-Semites have a right to their own free speech. They want to have a private group? Fine. I don't have a problem with it, so long as I'm not silenced on Twitter or anywhere else. But the problem is people like me are always silenced. And people like this are silenced. Not everybody's silenced. It's like in the book by George Orwell. You know, so all of the animals in the barn are equal, but some are more equal than others. You know what? You have to let people enjoy their First Amendment rights if you are a public institution. I would love to see what happens with this. And again, I don't condone racism. I condemn it absolutely. But I do believe in the First Amendment, absolutely. We do have that. Not only in the U.S. Constitution, but also in the North Dakota Constitution. And speaking of political correctness and race, listen to this. So, the University of North Dakota has a Racism and Diversity Task Force. All right, the official name is the University of North Dakota Diversion and Inclusion Task Force. Boy, that's a mouthful. So they have this committee because they want to have they want to promote and foster a welcoming safe, and inclusive campus. And there are 27 people on this board. And here are the things that they've decided they want to do. And you want to know, when you listen to this list, who is going to pay for this? Create a vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion position. What? Does that mean that they're going to favor minorities over other people? Are they going to favor females over males? Are they going to favor certain ethnicities? Why do they need that? Whatever happened to merit? You get the grades, you have the test scores, you have the extracurriculars, you get in. Why do they need a vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Whenever I see that, I know it's not going to be equal. They want a division specifically for campus-wide diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives led by this vice president. They want to develop a strong statement regarding diversity, equity, and inclusion. They want to develop a protocol to identify and report issues of bias and discrimination on campus. So that means they're going to have a star chamber, and you won't get your day in court. This is what Betsy DeVos and the Trump administration were trying to stop, where people would be tried on campus without due process, and they would be kicked out of public universities. This cannot happen. They want to have a standing diversity, equity, and inclusion committee to contribute and advise on issues related to that and monitor the recommendations. They want curriculum. So in other words, you are going to have to study curriculum that is infused with diversity throughout the curriculum, and also have diversity classes and resources specifically supporting minority groups, American Indian Services, Black Cultural Centers, multicultural centers, LGBTQ centers, women and gender centers, area studies programs for all of these groups, structures, faculty, staff, and student recruitment for these groups. Who is going to pay for these things? You are, the taxpayers, and there's no money right now. This is ridiculous. Political correctness is costly. Remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.